saying there's two screens.
Maybe because that, maybe it counts when the.
You have one?
Nah, I don't know that,
All right.
I'm at work right now. Literally, I asked my boss, I'm like, can I take an hour break to a meeting? Thankfully, she's also in a meeting, so. I didn't like that this study brought off for the CLA office.
I think it's like pretty similar. It's like,
Recently, just
like advised.
advising, but only on broad instead of classes.
Slightly different context.
Now you're an advisor for all colleges.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Basically, academic advisor is just for everybody.
Nice facts. I guess actually, I just expanded.
Also, I have a.
Yeah.
So when I go to Korea, I know I'm not allowed to work there outside of the university campus because I'll be on a student visa. Is there anything against me having a job here and it just being remote? I might ask my boss if I could do that. So that I get paid. The thing is,
Also, again, you should probably look at tutoring English.
yeah, I am definitely gonna do that. It turns out I actually have international friends here that do that.
Oh, nice.
Here. But yeah, cause like.
What was this time? Is it because, oh my god, is it because we invited them to? You guys remember, John had a calendar in there. So, I don't know.
I had everything on the screen, so I knew it. I know. I put it everywhere.
Cops are a lot of places to take.
In the recording, yeah. We're getting like unrelated. The whole like. Did you see what it is? It's scheduled event in space.
Yeah.
For 5 days.
Excellent, very nice.
Get 3 strikes. So I have a feeling.
We did show.
There'll be a strike.
Is it like if we ghost them?
You think so? If they want like a certain day notice? No, we just got this like weird, sorry I missed you. Like we set up the room and then went back downstairs and
Are they supposed to?
It's like the technology that we're privacy.
I don't know where to even work for this shit. I got yelled at by the campus staff last week. We were putting up flyers for signing for marketing, but they didn't tell us that with the campus center, you were just supposed to give it to them. So they were approving our posters and then just let us take them all instead of being, oh, we put the ones up around campus. So we were, me and Ian, putting them up around campus and they went, excuse me, you can't just put that up there. We went, it's approved. And she goes, we do that, you don't do that. Just give me how many, like for William. I was like, oh. Okay. Like
well, because you're saying that and I didn't know that.
Yeah, but like you have to get them approved, but then only they can touch the
Ooh, is
bulletin
it
campus. center.
The
So, like,
activities?
yeah, activity said only they can touch the bulletin boards in campus center.
That's new.
I mean, yeah, last semester, me and Ian put up so many flyers for dining and no one said a thing.
I can tell you that I don't think I've ever done that.
I don't
So
know.
maybe it is now.
But I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I profusely apologize. I got so scared. Please don't fire me. They can't fire me. I don't work here. Well, yeah, and thankfully I don't. Like, I don't get paid in the university. They're not. But now I want to talk to my boss. About, like, work remote for marketing while in Korea. I know the time difference is gonna be crazy.
So what do you, like which department?
It's marketing for dining.
Okay.
So I couldn't obviously do it there, but you want someone to like design things. Cause. Ian's
Hey, Jay.
graduating. So she
How are
loses
you
one
doing?
intern, and then I'm leaving for a year. She loses both interns. We have to hire 2 different people, so maybe if I was like, I would have to probably talk to my boss. And be like, would they allow me to work remote? So. Yeah. Work remote while designing stuff. Obviously, I'd work during the day there, which would be night here. So a little hard on the communications lab. But I mean, Sodexo is a global company. And it doesn't hurt to fly. And worst case scenario, I have my cousin who's offering another marketing job over the summer. And she said it can be remote. So while I'm at Middlebury, I could also do marketing.
When you were in campus was there like fires of people looking for English tutors?
So. They, not like English tutors, but it was, you could sign up to be with a buddy. And you can learn Korean with them and then they learn English.
I was mostly thinking like, okay,
Like an acting job. There's like campus and I didn't actually do a job when I was there, but.
Did you go to Korean? Yeah, so I remember you
posted
telling
on
me.
the wall. I just don't know if it'd be written in like.
mhm.
I just
Good
didn't
thing
look
I'm
at
learning
posters, like,
how to read Korean.
Are you gonna live on campus?
I'm looking to live on campus. That's like the best option thing eventually, but I did also register for the website where you could do the homestay, but it still won't show me the prices.
That's what I was thinking, like,
No.
if you go to homestay, they may have some connections to like
Yeah.
other families that are
Especially if
looking
they
for
have
like
that.
school age, yep.
I'm open to either or right now, especially because like nothing's finalized. honestly, whichever more financial best. And then if I do get a scholarship, regardless if it's this one or the Boren, I just want to bring my cat. I told myself if I get the scholarship, I'm doing the thing. I'm buying my cat a pizza. I didn't even know that was a thing till you told me.
I can't advise them. How successful
How's it
bringing
going?
a cat to Korea.
I like cats. though.
I've seen some videos.
Hey, and then that's a cool fact. Like, yeah, I'm from America, but I have a cat.
They do have like cat cafes and stuff, right?
Yes, there was some white.
I already applied for the last round. Should I change what I write or like just didn't read it?
You didn't get selected. Probably gotta figure out what
I would.
in detail, like what was in there versus
I
all of
think-
these questions.
Last time I wrote it, I was more spread out on what I wanted, but now I know what I want.
Yeah.
So I think I just need to. Yeah. I went to Amanda. I don't know her name. Where'd she go? Where did she go? Hmm. I only met with Amanda like twice. So then I was like, oh, I'm actually going. I need like regular advice.
Yeah.
So you were the only one they was. Well, maybe I should because you actually like to me first.
I'd say, but I'm always.
Is there a way to get a double joint meeting?
Well, good luck with getting the time that we're both available.
Hey, apparently so many of my friends are like studying abroad. And I'm like,
Just from our advising, I feel like we're growing this year. We'll see what the end.
I have a friend going for a semester to the Netherlands, a friend going for 2 semesters to Japan.
Yeah, our exchanges are,
Yeah.
we're a little bit brutal right now. We're too many for the slots we have.
Good thing I'm slot one.
Yeah, exactly. You did it right in the right time.
Well, because most people aren't. Full year.
And it's gonna be a real issue. I think we're.
And this is why I did a full year. So I'm already there and they can't take me back. Out here because you were sitting
So
here.
with the,
Did I know you?
I'm trying to stay up here for a minute.
I'm gonna go after.
After I. Oh, no.
Great, how are you?
All right, let's get started.
Thanks for you there.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, are we ready? All right, everybody, we're gonna get started because we have only a quick hour to do a lot of things. So welcome. You obviously are here because you're interested in studying abroad. Yes, I am. And also interested in potentially applying for the Gilman scholarship. So how many here already know that they're gonna go abroad and when they're gonna go abroad and where they're gonna go abroad? Okay, and then some other people maybe for the future applying. So yeah, the next scholarship deadline is March 6th, so we've got a few short weeks to get in an application if you haven't decided already. So today we're gonna go over just generally about the scholarship. Obviously, if you're applying for March 6th, we gotta get started on the writing as soon as possible, but then there's another one in October for a deadline. So if you're not thinking until going abroad till spring 2026 or later, you've got a lot of time to really, at this point, just brainstorm and think about things generally and then get more specific for the next application cycle. So I'm joined here today by my colleague Joanna from the Office of Global Programs. My name is Brittany, and I'm also here with the Writing Center on campus and Maria, who's here to talk about the Writing Center and all the resources that are available for you while you write your Gilman application. If you're in the Zoom, I just want to make sure everybody got the workbook with that QR code, because that is what we're going to be using today. And this session is getting recorded. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, that's fine. I'm going to send out the recording to everybody that RSVP'd. All right. So we're going to go over just generally the Gilman Scholarship, how the Writing Center can support you, actually give you some time to get started on your essays. So you're not actually writing sentences today, but more like bullet points, ideas, discussion around your table, things like that. And then kind of coming up with a timeline for your writing and for your application and whatever that means for you. All right, so an introduction to the scholarship. So if you are going to apply for March 6th, that's going to cover any term from summer 2025 all the way through spring 2026 if you want. So you can actually apply already for spring 2026 in this current cycle. If you don't get awarded, then you actually have a second chance to apply in the October deadline. They haven't put an exact date. It's typically like the first Thursday of October. So that would be the deadline for winter 2026 all the way through academic year 2026-2027. So essentially, how to think about it, if you're going in the fall, you got to apply in this cycle. If you're going after the fall, you can actually apply in October, but if you want, you could apply twice if you apply now and then get it back, find out if you got it. You could also be finding out way further in advance if you apply in this cycle to know, hey, I did get this scholarship plan. Otherwise, you can plan to apply in October. It's up to $5,000 typically for just the general award. But if you are studying a critical need language, you can submit a supplemental essay, which would qualify you up to $3,000 more. So what's a critical need language is actually determined by the Department of State. The languages that they want US citizens, nationals to be learning. So for example, Korean, Japanese, really popular ones that our students take. So check to see if the language that you're going to, if you are going to take a language, is on that list, and for sure submit that supplemental essay if that's true. Even if it's just one language class, I always say it's worth just submitting it. If you are a STEM major and you plan on even just taking a class that has some sort of research component in it, you can also submit the STEM Research Supplemental Award. That's up to $1,000. So in the end, that's somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 is the award, depending on these things. You have to have a federal Pell Grant. You have to be eligible for a federal Pell Grant in order to apply, and that does get certified by our financial aid office. So you want to just triple check that before you apply, because you can't apply if you aren't eligible for it. And then you have to be accepted or applying to a program that's a level 1 or 2 travel advisory. So what is that? The State Department, again, has travel advisories for every country in the world. Typically, most countries in the world are in between a 1 and 2. There are some that are 3, so you want to check just like directly where you're going and what's the current travel advisory. But we'll also certify that for you. So if you're unsure, talk to us and we'll make sure. Also, if you're sitting in here and you have a parent or spouse that's active military, there's the Gilman McCain. So if that is applicable to you, just let us know. It's just a separate application, almost identical, but you would apply separately. And now I'm going to turn it over to the Writing Center and how they're able to assist you in your writing.
I graduate fall 26. When would be a good time to apply?
So you can apply up to a year in advance. Summer 2026. Let me just double check. Yeah, so you can't apply until the October 2025 deadline. And then if you don't get it in October, you could apply in the next March cycle too. So 2 chances still, but you can't apply in this one. You got to wait for October, which gives you plenty of time to figure out which program and really work on the application.
All right. How are we doing today? Great. Some of us are doing good and are present and awake. I know it's hard Monday. It's just the vibes, right? I'm Dr. Maria Carvajal. I am the director of the Writing Center, and I'm also faculty in the English department. So all things writing is what I spend most of my days doing. And I'm very extra excited to be talking about essays for studying abroad, because you got to write a good essay in order to get a scholarship. So you'll need that. Have any of you been to the Writing Center before? All right, look at that. Awesome. Have any of you that didn't just raise your hand heard about the Writing Center before? Okay, great. So my goal by the end of today, the next like 5 minutes, is to convince you to go to the Writing Center, because it's free, but what that really means is you already paid for it, so you might as well take advantage of it. So I'm gonna just tell you a little bit more about the Writing Center so you have the info that you need today to leave and remember that we're a great resource. So lots of info on this slide, but really basically what I want you to take away is that we have lots of consultants who all come from across campus, who have been trained to work one-on-one with students. And we have some folks who have studied abroad also. So we got Sophie and Sophia, both who have studied abroad, and Brianna. Those are all names that you can look through our website and find a time that they're working if you want to work with someone who has been abroad and who has experience writing study abroad essays. We also have sample materials that we can show you and share if you make an appointment. You say specifically that you're working on study abroad. That's something that we can help you during our session, just so you can look over other people's writing that has been successful, so you have a model to follow. And then we can help at any part of the writing process. So usually folks think, Writing Center, great, I'll go there when I want someone to take a look at my sentences after I already drafted. That's a great time to come, but if you come earlier, we can do even more work together and we can help you create an even stronger essay. So today you're gonna do a little bit of brainstorming, and it's great to bring that brainstorming with you and continue brainstorming with a consultant after today. And you can come, I'll tell you exactly how many times here in a second, but you can come every week if you want, up until that March 6th deadline if you choose. So you have a really good, strong essay by the time that you submit it. So I always like to say we can help from the beginning of the writing process all the way to the end. So you do not have to have a full draft to come to us. You do not have to have a draft at all. Bullet points is great. Blank page is great too. We'll help you wherever you are. Doesn't really matter. And even though I'm talking about essays for studying abroad, we can help you with all your writing. So if you have essays for your classes and you want a second set of eyes, we can definitely help with that. If you are applying to other kinds of scholarships, not just study abroad ones, we can help with that. If you want to look at your resume, or you're writing a cover letter for your job, or even something like, hey, I gotta write an email to my professor and it's kind of scary, can you help me look it over? We can help with anything that is writing related. So we do kind of collaborative conversations is the way that we like to think about our sessions. So we hear what you have to say. We might look over what you have written already if you have something, and then we'll kind of go from there based on what you are thinking about and what else we see and notice that we can help you with. So we have mostly our work is one-on-one through those collaborative sessions, but we have other things that we do, including workshops like this one and other kinds of workshops. But I'm going to highlight just one event that we do that is usually helpful for folks who are applying to study abroad, which is our writing groups. So we have 2 of these. They run on Tuesdays and on Sundays. And these are, in contrast to our one-to-one sessions, these are not times when you get your writing looked at, but rather just community time and space for you to actually work on your writing. So it's really hard to find time to just work on your writing, especially if you've never done something like writing a study abroad application essay or a scholarship essay. And so what we want to do is sort of minimize that sort of like entry to writing. And so I love writing groups. This is how I get my own writing for publishing done. It's in the company of other people, because I'm like, Brittany, you're writing. Oh, I better write too, right? So it gives a little bit of like what I like to call friendly peer pressure, so that you can get going with your writing. So I think this is a great way to make sure that you meet that March 6th deadline. And again, even though I'm saying you can come do this for your study abroad Gilman application essay, you can come write anything that you're working on. And that doesn't even have to be for a class. So if you're the kind of person who likes to do creative writing or journaling or really anything that you're writing, come write with other people. It's a great way to meet others. We do ask for you to register ahead of time. So our links are there. There are flyers also in the back if anybody wants to take a printed flyer of the writing groups. And then we have 2 locations. Same thing, just 2 different locations on campus to make us a little bit more accessible. So our main location is actually here in Campus Center on the 1st floor in room 1300. And then our second location is our satellite location, a little bit smaller, a little bit quieter if you like quieter spaces. And that's in Whitley Hall on the 6th floor. And then we're also online anytime that we're in person, we are online. And we add Sunday hours that are fully online for folks who are working or who just like to work on the weekends or for whatever reason want to access us online. So you can choose when you make an appointment, whether you want to meet with someone in person or online. And then we are also on the web on our website, which has a bunch of additional information and helpful resources. And then the last thing second to last thing, I think actually, last thing is just how do I actually get to work with a consultant? And you can go to this link up here, umb.mywconline.com, or you can just get to this from our Writing Center homepage, and it says make an appointment. Click on that. And all you have to do is log in with your UMass Boston email and password. So the same information that you use to get into Blackboard or Canvas or Wiser, type that in. If this is your first time using the Writing Center, you'll be asked some registration questions, and then you can look at our schedule, choose the person that you want to work with, choose whether you want to work in person or online, and you're good to go. You may have up to 2 appointments per week and 1 per day. And you can book appointments up to 2 weeks in advance. So if you know you have a deadline coming up, work backwards from that deadline and then make a couple appointments at least so you can have someone take a look at your writing. And that's pretty much it. We're really, really easy to find. We have consultants who are very excited to work with all of you. Any questions? Okay, excellent. So I'll be hanging around and happy to chat and give feedback on things. Pass it back to Brittany, and I'll make sure all these resources are also in the chat for folks.
All right, so now we get to talk about the essays and you get to start brainstorming. So I will say that these are not long essays. It's typically around 2 pages total of writing that you're doing for this entire application. So if you think about it, you've got to actually be pretty concise to answer all 3 questions that you're going to be asked. And then every question sort of has a breakdown of questions. So you've got a lot of things to include in a short amount of paper. So you want to really make it as strong as possible to tell your story about where you're going in the program itself. So not even just, I want to go to the UK, but you want to say, I want to go to London and study at London Met University for this program because. So you want to really get as specific as possible. So you want to do your research about the country you're going to, the university you're going to, the city that you're going to, and you want to make sure that you're coming across in your essay that you have done this research, you're going to this place for good reasons, and here's why, and then put that in your essay. So there's 3 parts. One is the statement of purpose. That's essentially like your personal interview on paper. So who are you? What brought you here? Why are you studying abroad? Second is the building mutual understanding. So this is where you're really going to show that you're going abroad and you're not just going to be, with a bunch of American students in this center and not interacting at all with locals. You want to actually show the opposite, that you're going there and you're really going to immerse yourself in the place, in the location, and the time that you're in. And then finally, the follow-on service. That's really where you're going to show how when you come back, you're going to spread the word about study abroad and that there are scholarships like this out there for you to apply. So that follow-on we'll go over in a little bit. It's not anything crazy. It's not this like semester-long project you have to do. It can literally be one event or one thing that you do when you come back. All right. So for the next about 40 minutes, we're going to go over each individual section. We actually have an excerpt from each section to show you just an example of a UMB student who has gotten the scholarship. What did they write in there? So we've got 3 different excerpts. And then we're going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes per section to start bullet pointing in your workbook. So questions to ask yourself while you're thinking through every single part of this essay. Am I telling my story about who I am, what I'm passionate about, and why I'm applying for this? And am I showing that I've chosen my program and location for good reasons? So what that could be personal, academic, professional. Ideally, it's actually all 3 together in some way. So you show you have interest in this place, you have shown interest in studying abroad or doing something with what you're going to be doing academically there. And that you really chose a program based on that. So not just, I want to go to Sorrento, Italy to go swim in the Mediterranean or something, but I'm going to this university because I have a real passion for Italian studies, and these are the reasons why, and in the future I have aspirations XYZ. It's going to give me these experiences because. And you're all lucky because Joanna, our advisor, actually got the Gilman in her undergrad studying here at UMass Boston. And she wrote it in how long?
Less than 24 hours. I didn't know about it until the day before. That means it's doable.
So it is doable.
It's not recommended.
Yes.
Not recommended, but doable.
But you're already ahead of the game because you're sitting here right now. So, and on Zoom. All right. So essay number 1, your personal interview on paper. This is where you want to connect you about yourself to your programs and your goals of what you're going to do there. So tell them who you are. What is this opportunity that you're getting, and why you're choosing it, why you're choosing this place, what are the experiences that you're actually going to have on site. And then the second part of this is interesting. So you want to show like how you're going to meet any challenges you might face while you're abroad. So that could be, I'm studying in a non-English speaking place and my first language is English and I really don't have much experience in the language where I'm going, which is actually the case for many people. So you want to be able to say in your essay, I haven't experienced something exactly like this, but there are things in my past that I can show that I have met challenges that are similar. So that's really what they're looking for. So that could be you academically here, getting into something new, you can think about that. So you want to ask these questions and you'll see them kind of broken down in your worksheet. What are the goals for your studying abroad? Why did you pick this program? How will it help you achieve your goals? And how can you show that you're prepared to be successful there? So we have an excerpt that I'm going to let Joanna read from a UMB student that was successful in getting the Gilman for this one.
My journey from Puerto Rico to Massachusetts, where my mother and I settled, introduced me to the expansive world or cultural union, especially when my mother met my stepfather, who descends from Cape Verdean heritage. Cape Verde is one of the African countries encompassed in the Portuguese-speaking world. Boston is a city that resonates with Lusophone immigrants from countries like Brazil, Cape Verde, Angola, and Portugal. The allure of Lusophone culture with this diverse culinary scene, racial diversity, music, art, and interconnected histories captivated me from a young age. My desire to form a parallel connection with the Lusophone culture that shaped my formative years inspired me to declare a minor in Portuguese language and studies during my sophomore year. Motivated by my professor's encouragement to study abroad, I researched opportunities and found resonance with the CIEE Lisbon program. Lisbon is a city with immigrants from various Lusophone countries, etc., etc. So this is just an excerpt.
So if you think about it, even just from this excerpt, every single part of the question was really answered. You're connecting your past to where you're at now, to the program and why you're doing it. So you want to think about trying to tell a story in the same way about how you came up with the program that you're going with. And if you're sitting here like, I really don't know why I picked my program, I mean, you still have time to kind of think about that. Should you be looking at a program that makes more sense than even what you're looking at? And that's what we're really here for. Especially for you all that haven't chosen a program. If you do plan on applying for this scholarship, and when you're talking with us, think about these things while you're choosing your program. And honestly, you're going to have a much better experience if you're picking a program for really great reasons like this, and not just, hey, I saw like a flyer somewhere and I'm signing up, but there's so many programs out there that you can really find one that makes a lot of sense for what you're looking for. So this is for the challenges section, from, I think it might be a different student. Same thing.
So for this one, it starts with, this will also be the first time that I'll be living away from my family for a long period of time. Thinking about it makes me nervous, but I'm also excited because I will finally get to travel. I will take my knowledge and experiences from when I completed my leadership trips from Summer Search Boston, a nonprofit program for teens who show leadership qualities to receive academic mentoring and attend summer trips throughout their high school career. Through these trips, I became a leader that I did not know I could be and took on challenges with confidence. I gained a greater understanding of myself and realized that I genuinely enjoy helping people no matter what task they need to complete, big or small. I wrote something pretty similar for my own challenges section. Like I had never traveled away by myself before, or been away from home for a long period of time, and just saying how this could help me build my independence like as a person while I'm abroad.
Okay, so now we're gonna spend about 10 minutes. So you're gonna kind of just go through each prompt in your section 1 of your workbook for your essay 1. And we'll be around to kind of spark some ideas and discuss with you what you're thinking about. So same for in Zoom, just take some time to download that workbook and start putting in some bullet points.
What I'm doing, I don't
Like,
have.
for one of them, it's just a
traveled
statement of
across
purpose, like
Europe.
they're kind of to help you, like these 4 things right here, you wanna be able to hit all 4 within that
Especially
statement.
it's not like I'm spending a semester.
Okay, and then
I'm
kinda like subcategories.
rigorously scheduled 12 days.
So like all of these academic categories.
But it's not challenging because I have rigorous schedule here. So I'm doing something that I know I'm good at, which is the point.
Yeah, your goals. I mean,
Wide eye.
how
Well,
about
academic
everybody
reasons.
with the unknown really goes together?
Yeah, these, you don't have to like, but you don't have to fill out like
You wanna
all
know
of this
just
stuff with
some
information. And so
But you don't have to.
give you a lot of space. to kind of
Like
fit
you
it
could just
in
be
if
in
you
the
wanted
country
to
with them.
bullet
because
points and
it's
you're like,
12
oh,
days.
okay, and this is.
It's like 12 days, 20%.
Okay, and for the
So,
essay,
yeah, I
there's
mean,
all
in a
of
way.
Yes,
more
for
focus
like for
on
essay 1, you
as
wanna
much as we
connect
can.
these
I
with
mean, I
questions.
guess, but.
And
it's
I'll
not
also
about
say on the
people, it's
website
about
when
the
they
country
ask
that-
you,
that's what
just wanna
we
make
want.
sure you're hitting these, like, for example, academic, professional,
I mean,
Well,
Also,
for
it's
this
not
one-
that long.
or like
Well,
academic,
here's,
professional, like these could be
another
combined.
part of
into
this
one
building
thing.
is you're gonna be there for the full day.
Say,
How are you
It's
gonna
about-
interact with?
they don't really
I
do
think
by
that is-
words, they do it by character.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
Also,
so it's only
you don't
what,
really know, like we're seeing
7?
plays and we're doing.
So it's like 700 characters. Now, don't do what I did. Remember how I mentioned I did it in like a day? Well, I didn't look at it clearly, and I thought it was words. So I wrote so much, and then I had to cut
I
everything.
don't know,
in.
even a
So
kind like
just
Spain.
remember,
or
it's
Cape Verde
characters.
or
So
anything.
the is 3
It's like
characters.
even the space.
four.
But so you're gonna have to explain
Yeah,
how
so
you
that's
will
why you have to be
interact.
like really.
So
Yeah.
You wanna think
that
about
that
really
is
connecting everything. I would say
short period.
it was like about maybe like 2 decent sized characters.
I have a concern.
Yeah,
And
so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, are we gonna,
I mean,
Like-
I think the truthful answer.
is it?
It's a typical like essay writing.
Unless I'm able to.
My
like,
honest-
at
like, I-
night, like I'm free off
Yeah.
and.
And it's all in one.
Well, you're getting, so for example, you're doing backstage.
You should get everything in one
So there's
doc.
gonna be a staff here, are you both interested in
Like
here?
multiple docs if you want it.
no, I'm an English major.
Oh,
But
yes,
interested in similar,
Like I'm interested in playwriting,
I-
so that's my.
so now you have the opportunity to potentially.
Like maybe it's a creative option.
Not
I'm
not
just-
necessarily, we're not gonna be Shakespeare.
You have the opportunity to meet.
but yeah,
Stays
so
in
you're
an
saying the
academic-
backstage
I think
speakers,
with
because I'm
PDF.
working downstairs.
Or you could just come.
I also because I sent my,
I also, like,
The request for higher- I think 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, I think that you're gonna
I
have
said
fun too, right? And
Um,
that's gonna be a thing during the trip that you're doing. What are you gonna do in that time? Make the most of it. and help this degree or whatever that thing might be. So you're gonna have options, you're gonna have opportunities to interact with people in the field.
Yes.
And how are you gonna do it?
Should I send it to someone else?
Well, I don't know because I don't know if the program's gonna run yet, so.
Well, I think we have.
Yeah.
I think we're almost there.
Yeah, cause the.
You're right.
My biggest anxiety is that the program will happen at all and not anything that will happen after that.
Well, there's gonna be a committee reading this. And you have to. So it's up to you to make the program work. And there's been plenty of students that have gotten Gilman for 12 days.
It depends, I'm not for that.
Financial aid.
You have to start brainstorming and thinking.
Oh,
That's the time to
Like
other.
other-
I think that the tours and things, you guys open the opportunity to meet people in the field, that'd be something I would really. Especially because you can now transcend it throughout the whole day. And this is the challenge you're facing, it's only 12 days. How am I gonna interact with, you know, something professionally out of this? Well, here's the way, that I already can see it in the program, and now here's how it's gonna help me. For potentially. I mean, you might be out there that you can connect on LinkedIn and later down the road say, hey, like, you have something going on. You met me that summer in London. There are a lot of stuff that you can make for them.
Yes, so the Gilman itself is one, the critical needs language is another, and then the STEM is another, is a supplemental award, so you'd have to do like another mini essay for the STEM.
I'm going to South Korea all semester because I want to study in Korea University.
Program.
They had a pretty good program.
Requirement.
Just had a little fun. Talked with you like months ago.
So why you requesting?
Yes.
It's, yeah, this is, I have like.
Germany.
Yes. I feel like it's.
Some guys from undergraduate admission, they still did not evaluate.
Yes, so I was talking to Brittany about that, and we sent an email.
That place that I spent this semester reading.
Why
I'm
I'm
gonna pretend like I was really not.
City and.
So.
You,
someone-
but,
Okay, undergraduate.
yeah.
Question about Brittany, because she just had the same question as you, like, we know they're behind on it. So it's not like it's any of your faults, they're just not looking at it.
Yeah, I talked with the guy, Mike, I think,
Yeah, my-
2 weeks ago now. I think I was gonna call out this week.
First, how am I gonna?
I'm gonna look at this particularly, like, deadline is coming.
That's, yeah,
I think deadline is March. Germany.
yeah, some of them are like, maybe March.
I'm gonna do it.
So I would, like, since he said that he would, yeah, I put much forward. Mail like two.
Just, yeah, just essay one. Well, what you're doing right now. Yeah.
This is one of the doors.
That is a really important.
I still have time, right?
So that-
So that time, yeah, it's just more so like, so you know you're doing a program that will go through the city. If you wanna theoretically, like really wanna do a lesson, it's not like, say the deadline passed, but you still wanna go, even if it's not gonna have exactly what class.
Can we like
It's not your fault that it didn't get
determine the culture
It
of the
is.
speaker in the experience of the.
They have.
Okay, so even if deadline, the study abroad is passed, I can still squeeze it in that.
This.
You should still apply for it. Or are you waiting until?
Yeah, I wanna see the form with the credits, how many credits are there, so I can talk, so you will be involved. You will be some certification. Looking for your credits. How many credits?
Exactly.
They want you to
Want it to
be.
be. Difficult spot. I was thinking that maybe
But how are we
just
making?
apply. That's it, that way you get a.
We shouldn't go in.
And then you could wait for the higher approval. But if it's you're submitting two different higher approval forms and like rating which one is better, then don't put them to this program yet. That makes sense.
You wanna share yourself while you're in London, is how you transfer it.
I think.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'll ask Brittany about that because so far it's not.
Sure, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. Or like show you not.
The academic versus the professional, I think one is like, what was it? Impacting human-
Very similar to.
That's something that we can also like, but you're gonna get credit. If you want to go for major or minor.
I did. I got one pencil.
It's okay, can I get some?
Rating on, so if it's like
Yeah, so
gen
sometimes.
or I'm not going, then that's.
Actually, psychology, because it's like human based kind of area.
Okay.
It's easy to come into it.
I had to.
Are you still looking to get gen ed credit or major slash minor credit for it?
Well, I put both,
Both,
just in
okay.
case I think there's
So
one
like,
like.
you can think about like,
Okay.
Gen ed
literally like.
So current situation now is if you wanted to go specifically towards your.
Maybe I was in the hospital.
The syllabus.
Yeah.
And the higher approval over to the department. Like,
What's my management?
yeah, so they can approve it, and then that way, when it switches over, like to someone else who's actually gonna
Yeah,
approve
I'm
it,
also, I mean.
like the department's gonna have jurisdiction. Gen ed, you're gonna have to wait on just because we're still, and that one's a little harder because it's kind of like a overall encompassing, so we're still waiting to hear back on that. But you can go to your specific department now for the prior.
The one, the gen eds are the only, I just said no, I don't. Just.
You can say, you can make a note in the email, hey,
On my responsibility. No, I'm.
Prior approval, you're talking about Mike can do the same. He's behind me.
yes, but are you looking to take stuff at Frankfurt for your major?
He said it's gonna be elective.
Okay,
So
because
doesn't really matter.
if you just want, if it's gonna be random elective anyways, then you're okay. Like if you just need credit, it's okay. It's more specific if you need to be a major or you're ready to go gen ed comes. But if you're coming here, you just wanna take any random credit to get that 120 towards graduation, then you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have for application.
Are they gonna care?
Like, if you got spots.
Like, for doing a direct.
The program.
Direct, you'd have to apply through that, through us, but also through that program specific.
That website.
Yes, so they should have like a link there to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you wanna go to.
I.
What you're doing right now
Born in
is freezing.
Spain.
Just getting the idea.
That, are you LVM? No,
I don't know.
your provider, if you're doing it through a provider, any of those, you will still have to apply through their portal.
Okay, do I apply to any?
About actually.
Or just,
Guy who-
Just the portal that is like in the US.
I just did that one.
Then we.
Yeah, like nothing crazy, it's just like later on, once you get accepted in that, and there's actually just started
You know,
something.
that he
And then there's.
decided that he
Is that you probably don't want to hear me talk about.
Financial aid.
It's recorded. I know. That's why I know, and that's why,
And that's just all.
and that's why I
the-
said you probably don't.
Yeah.
But it can be.
I would say if you're doing it through provider, then like that is that you get the provider.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then while like they can like change.
Yeah, I'm walking around.
Yeah. But the other thing that's really.
So you're trying to go Spain, Italy?
I was already. Yes.
Yeah, I applied to.
And literally a lot of.
Yeah, I was thinking to apply to Portugal, but the deadline's March.
Okay, what do you?
I started 2 weeks ago, so.
I did that.
You have a heritage from there or something?
No, I'm past.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Before I submitted the last.
I was just going to say, you look like two of my friends together. Yeah, but one of them is Asian and another one is Russian. I think he said, oh, Japanese.
And it was also.
And you like, you took little bit of both of them. Sorry.
This one had
Someone-
like
and it-
20 different questions you want to ask. The other one was just.
Run, right?
Single. So, but this time I don't know more. about
Russia?
it. I know I'm gonna do a full year.
I don't know anything.
Things like- Go whether
I was trying to think, but.
Makes sense.
All right, I know everybody needs more time with this, but we only have 20 minutes, so I want to get to the other two sections. I think Joanna and I have a few minutes after this, so if you want to keep talking to us, definitely do that, but also you still got several weeks before the deadline, so this is really just to get started, and you'll keep going from here. Okay, so essay 2 is building mutual understanding. So that's basically how are you going to interact with the local culture that you're going to? And how are you going to share your own culture with that culture? So I always try to like frame it, think about who's funding this scholarship. It's the US Department of State. They want US students going abroad, you know, getting the experience for themselves, but also representing the US and whatever that means to you in the place that you're going. So things to think about. You have a planned program, right? There's like some excursions, especially if you're going on a faculty led, almost every day is planned, but there is some free time in there. So how are you going to take, you know, a step outside of your planned program and seek meaningful interactions and relationships with people wherever you're going? So maybe that's an event that you can find during the time that you're going to be in the place that you're going to be that you can talk about. Hey, this isn't part of the program, but I found that there's this conference going on that it has really like right to do with my major or something that I'm studying. That's just an example. But you can think about different things that you can kind of bring up of how you're going to interact with locals and what that means. You want to talk about what does it mean to be a US citizen abroad to you, whatever that means. So you want to ask yourself, how are you going to bring yourself? How are you going to bring your culture? How are you going to bring your passions abroad to share them with others in the host country? I remember I was reading one application when I was a reviewer, and the student was from like Tennessee and decided that he was going to do a country karaoke night at his program in Japan or something like that. And he got the Gilman. So if you think about it, he came up with something that has to do with himself to do there that's going to do all of those things, share his own culture, but also interact with others. So just start thinking about those things. What can you do to actually demonstrate that you are going to be doing this, that you're knowledgeable about where you're going, about the host culture, and what you aim to experience with locals when you're there. All right, so we've got an excerpt from a UMB successful applicant. So learning about Mexican culture and building mutual understanding will require me to take various academic, extracurricular, and social actions. One of the most important actions that I can make to immerse myself in the culture is to take a Mexican culture course during my study abroad, along with tasting the traditional cuisine. I plan on attending cultural events offered by UNAM's chemistry department, such as a traditional dance or music events. There, I have the opportunity to meet local students through discussing our shared interests. The real purpose of studying abroad for me is to understand Mexico's culture from their perspective. I hope to meet many diverse people during my stay in Mexico for this very reason, and hope in turn to share some of my Greek and American cultural heritage with them. I will show that many of those in American or Greek culture are open-minded and interested in learning about new cultures that may differ greatly from their own. So again, the student did some research. They're going into the chemistry department at UNAM. What kind of events are they actually running during the time that I'm there? Where I can actually bring up in the essay, hey, I looked into this and I know already I'm planning on going to this thing. It's not part of my program, but I'm actually interested in it and this is why. All right, so maybe that means you should be Googling wherever you're going and figuring out what you can find, but we'll give you, this one might have to be shorter. We'll go with like 8 minutes and then we're gonna move to the next one.
It's okay. It just has to be perspective. Me too. I hate this thing so much. This is why I didn't go to college.
I wanted people, not for the general, why know that I only do well if I tell the truth. So this isn't gonna be.
We're gonna go stay in so we could finish.
Okay.
Different time.
Great, so, I know there's
I will have the opportunity.
Okay, I was like trying to make, you know,
London Pride. That's the only thing, but like if we have time to actually. reach out, I don't think.
Okay, that's huge.
I went to London Pride because I was in London at the same time last year. So,
you know, there's this one organization that
Yeah.
really stands out to me.
Yeah. I think
like, you know, the first thing in
I think we're all in.
yeah, actually, is better.
I'm more shocked.
They have a lot of
I know that program.
Yes, well, yes.
Like that's
So
so
maybe-
culture, right?
Oh, no, that's actually great.
talk about the financials.
Yeah.
How do I?
The person who I'm gonna work with,
Or those. How do we talk about stuff? I actually.
may not. might not be-
But you already have the date.
Although I don't know, if the per meeting, it should not. They come back on.
But yeah, obviously. It is hard to reflect.
I've been told not to write anything. Right now, like, like when applying for things, they're like, oh.
But I can back you.
Yeah. So. That I wanted to, I didn't, I got into the finals. Queer undergrad. So.
I didn't know that there were.
Yeah.
It's called the Point Foundation. The application cycle is closed for this year, but.
If they have it there.
You just Google it. LGBT. There should still be some.
I think they're both in the same boat though. That's the problem, like I can't find one.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
Four
the
of us.
out of.
It's like I'm.
Yeah.
But it's leading to
So,
like a certain.
yeah,
Yeah. My studies, yes, there's been and so what is, I would say like this question.
Yeah,
what's
I mean, but
motivating you to do that?
You know what I mean?
It's
We're vaccinated to be every day.
You don't have to
The
raise.
prison
it.
is the
I'm just
bridge.
letting you know, like, you wanna think about, well, why?
You do it.
You know, it'll.
You do it.
I think that never. Which one? Which one?
Be a part of
Your-
your
I
like professional.
think that building.
Academic reasons, why. Yeah, why, yes, or no.
Thank you.
Why you help professional.
I know someone else is going.
No,
A friend of mine goes.
I'm from Palestine, but I think.
And they're really.
So I've been in miscommunication.
No.
Yeah, but yes.
They're also a freshman. I'm also a freshman.
Oh.
They're the lead in
Something like that.
Peter and the Starcatcher. Toki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's Electo, right? He's like, you should call me Toki. It's like, whatever. I'm hearing
So you then.
Oh,
No,
I was gonna say,
Electo.
Yeah.
Did say it. I missed.
said,
Good night.
Yeah. No, I know.
gonna say, and then-
But I just did not get it, like, actually.
They're going, I know someone from.
no, just,
Okay.
But
I have.
yeah, it's- yeah.
So,
I'm also good at
depending
that.
on
Studying
how.
No.
the
for academics,
grade is,
yeah.
how much money you get.
While I go to
Or if it,
Great
like-
University. So I wanna see if I can apply for the, what's it called?
Okay.
I wanna see if I can do that. And this one, but I don't think I applied.
If you're-
for this one. It has to be like a research class, right?
Yeah. Research, that's when it's classes, we can define
It would be.
then.
You wanna be super specific about one. And then I was just saying.
I
so
might,
there is
I
a
already,
program
looked over the
for-
course schedule and everything.
And I've never seen somebody get denied as long as you're spending
The only
the
thing
same
that-
term. If you change your program, they go.
There's the 2 weeks.
So-
beforehand.
No, it's like here that you fill out, it says, like,
I'm from
for some
Canada, so we
reason.
don't live here.
Where are you gonna live?
That's exactly.
But I can tell you, like, if you're writing about.
We've heard that the
different,
door-
Probably not,
Per diem.
you're not being.
Right, in the best argument, yeah. I mean, if you guys could.
Pick one and go really like
That's
full on.
basically.
I actually finished.
Yeah, so yeah, and I think you, I think.
I would start for 2 weeks. But
So,
like, I have one friend who I know got me, but he lives in Foster, so.
But that's why I sent it to your major because they'll get jurisdiction. It's like.
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted to be near the city. It was cheaper than all.
I would
one.
Five.
I wasn't really aware that there was a legal one.
doing like a couple different classes.
I met one of the history faculty, because I'm double major. So,
Yeah, I was trying to
like
point-
the
I was
idea
trying to
of
show them
being
where
here.
we're
It allows me to.
Funds you not get right, good argument.
Right.
Why, there's a change, like, you haven't changed.
Right. The only thing that they won't let us prove, they will let you.
Okay.
Okay.
So like, you can get it somewhere, you can say, actually, I want to. That's what they don't, they won't let you do that, but they. So they get a recording. You'll record.
So, let's say that.
They're on
At least the equivalent of 12 US
I
credits.
really do, but I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But- So then you have to take, depending, they're all two credit classes.
But like, sometimes
If
it's hard-
they are
hard to
located
figure
where
it
you
out.
could
But-
fit
But-
12 US credits. That way you're.
Yeah,
So that financially.
Actually being.
And I would really well.
People credits.
I get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
I prefer music on things because I'm a musician. I can't. So, a little bit of the drum.
Maybe. Yeah, but I also want, I want to do more classes.
Like that.
I'm doing
But-
year 6.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
represent you.
High school.
But I think
I
Looking for people.
something that actually.
Wanted to as well.
I think more so like. I think more so something like.
They're gonna be like.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of overload. I've done it twice.
How many people can get this?
Environment and also looking at.
Really is.
Yeah, but like.
You have to pay.
Maybe 5 people can get like 1,000.
No, I think university.
Because like, I was gonna do the private well approval.
Well, then I
Class
think-
last semester, because I wanted to take another class, so I was gonna make. I did do the approval thing, I'm pretty sure you have to pay for that class out of pocket, so I'll.
Where is it?
Yeah.
But I think 18 financial aid.
I think you should.
Not the right person.
And.
Yeah, I was just gonna drop, I was gonna do the classes later, but I just wanna do one extra class this semester, because like, I don't know, I have the time.
The next one.
Mark.
And I'm also wondering, maybe you could check what's going on in the fall break time, is there anything that's already?
I also have to.
On the service project.
Well, take it there. I'm gonna go watch.
Or,
Something to add up.
like, how does- So knowing science.
London Pride is.
How does it apply to your professional career?
London.
I was doing a program.
Trump State
I was
Department.
technically a
About
student,
I don't think it's
so I was taking.
things I'm hoping gay, okay. Sorry.
So I would definitely
Include that and say like, we're gonna do this.
try to
14 credits.
try to make it even more.
3 credits. An extra class, probably like later or something.
I already know
So I'm
what's
probably gonna do that either like
found a
second year
specific event
or
or
third.
set of interest.
Just to get it out of the way. And I'm about to do my first year and second year seminars.
Okay, that's.
So, you get, do that. They're gonna have some great time for you.
Let's go gays.
You guys could do it for a slow following.
Question.
I think
It's like one person is gonna get it, it's like much.
So they actually say it's between 1 and 3 and 1 and 4 students across.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, I don't know.
It's actually a lot.
I just haven't found like
But
any
it's get
good
awarded.
ones that
Um,
weren't booked up, so I can.
So what, I mean, if there's a handful, I think they say they get they're still awarding more than 1,000. I've seen, so it kind of ranges on the rounds that I've seen students get. So for summer, I've seen students get usually around 3,000 or 4,000. Semester, more often, you're getting that full 5. Like usually, like minimum I've seen for summer for the last like 2 years is like 3,000.
Some of them looked interesting.
But I will say, like,
Unfortunately, they've already.
there are a lot of our students that aren't attending this and apply one day ahead and are not like Joanna, already fill it out. And plus, like, a couple other nuances. So it's like, if you think about it, the 1 and 4, there's a lot in there that just they submitted, but really, but almost nothing. So have a really solid.
Yeah.
Just gotta put the effort in and really tell your story. And try to like, you know, multiple drafts really are helpful too.
Oh, no,
I understand that's, I always say like, like days until your deadline, but send us a draft.
Right away, so I can, like, have to do the connection
You
class.
should expand out the site.
Rather just have.
What program are you gonna go with?
Down on schedule, I guess, so to speak.
You know when?
I was gonna meet with like advisor, do like a. People the fourth.
Okay, so you have a lot of time. to
Where they
figure out
tell you like,
the
oh.
Perfect program that also fits this narrative.
Have it all down.
They really wanna make, they want it to be a program that's gonna be impactful in as many ways as possible. So what are you actually personally interested in? Where do you want to go? But also academically.
No, I don't like spreadsheets. It's just
It makes a lot of
like,
sense.
when it's stuff like that, then I'm like spreadsheets.
Absolutely.
Anything else I usually.
What's your minor?
Yeah, I mean, basically.
I still wanna spend it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So for example, oh, you're running out of time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm barely paid to be here, but like still. I
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
wanna take out.
For example, MBA program in China that's running,
Like,
you know? So you wanna find a program that you can kind of make those connections and say, okay, I'm not just going and experiencing, but I'm actually getting some real life experience.
Not like specifically like say.
You have a lot of time to sort of figure that out.
$30, like, for my tuition. Yeah, so you have to write my check in.
All right, we're gonna move quickly to the follow-on service and then to wrap up. So for follow-on service, this one's actually, I think, the easiest because the Gilman website gives you about 20 different examples that you can literally take and then adapt to yourself. So I'll show you the website in a second. But what I recommend is look through that list. You don't have to choose from that list, but if you wanna, you know, just choose one and make the connection for yourself, then you definitely can. So basically they want you to spread the word about study abroad and about the Gilman and other scholarships that are out there that you can apply for. Get more students to go abroad. That's the whole purpose. So what's that project gonna mean for you? It could be, I'm a communication major, so I'm gonna host an event for comm majors when I get back about study abroad and present about my own experience in the Gilman and things like that. It can be as simple as that. But you just wanna make sure you're concise, that you already have connections with the group that you're gonna host. So not, I'm gonna, you know, create this whole new group out there on some campus to spread the word, but I'm already involved in this club on campus or this major on campus or this minor on campus, and I'm gonna bring my story to them when I come back. So just think about that. Think about the connections you've already got on campus in your community. Some students go to their high school and present to, they still have a connection with a teacher they had, so they're actually gonna go and present to the high school and say, hey, did you know when you go to college, like, that this is a thing that you can do and it exists that's out there? So I don't think we actually have time for you to brainstorm, but I will bring it up after and I'll stay for a couple extra minutes. But I will read this really quickly. So this is an excerpt from another UMB successful applicant. My follow-on service project will involve serving as a study abroad mentor to freshmen and students that share the same majors as me. I'm currently a peer mentor for freshmen in the College of Liberal Arts and Honors College at my university. I have demonstrated a strong commitment to helping my fellow peers find out the information they need while providing my own perspective and advice, as reflected in my current role as a peer mentor. Mentoring first-year students about my experience will help them see that traveling abroad is not as daunting as it may seem. I will emphasize the benefits of studying abroad. I'll share my concerns that I had prior to studying abroad and how I feel after I've returned. Sorry, Joanna, can you finish it?
Yeah. Where how the courses varied in, actually I wrote this typo, but in America compared to South Korea, I will promote the Gilman scholarship and how I approach my application.
So Joanna did write this in one the successful one here, but you can see, okay, so Joanna was already a peer mentor before going. So now when she comes back, going to that same exact community you're already involved with to do the same thing. All right, I'm gonna skip this really quickly. This is our contact info. So especially if you haven't picked a program, please schedule an appointment with us. You can do a whole hour. We can look at your degree audit. We're gonna start narrowing down your options. You can think about your Gilman while you're picking your program now, because now you know what the Gilman's looking for. They want those connections to you. What's your interest? What are you doing academically? If you want to just schedule an appointment to go over your draft, do that. Send us via email a draft. Go to the writing center. They sign up for a couple of appointments, even right now, like while you're sitting here, so that you've already got a plan from now until whenever your due date is, whether that's March 6th or in the future. So let me just show you quickly the essays. So the Gilman website, tons of information. I really recommend you spend like a solid hour going through everything on here because they really give you a lot as far as advice on what to include. So under the essays, that's where you're going to get a lot of detail. And I mean, it's really everything that we're including in this workbook, maybe even more. So, like 5 questions to ask yourself when you're writing your statement of purpose, things like that. If you keep scrolling down, there's going to be these drop downs. So when you look at the community impact, you've got the building mutual understanding, and then you've got the follow-on service. So under the follow-on service, you see the examples. So there's about 20 different ones here that you can choose from. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not going to be held against you that you took this, but adapted it to your own, whatever your own community audience is going to be for this. So we are out of time, and I know that some people have class, but I will stay we'll be here for another 10 or so minutes. So if you're in the Zoom and you want to ask any questions, feel free to, as well as anybody around the room. And if you want to work for a minute on your follow-on, feel free to stay. We'll be here. But thank you very much, everybody, for coming. And good luck with your writing.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
You said I should go back to the
So you technically don't need your prior approval until when you leave. It's really like, what are you looking for credit? Is it just credits or do you have something specific? Okay, is it like a major course or?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do major courses in the summer or 2 elective courses for like and then on that I'll do the
Okay, so if you got your form back and it was just approved as credits, would you still be able to go because you're still getting the credit? Or does it have to be a major? Okay, but I guess what I was saying is you said like either I'm gonna do 2 there or switch it and do it in the fall, right?
So I'm gonna do 2 in the summer and then
Okay.
start working on elective or
But so could it be an elective? And then,
Could be.
okay. Now, does it need to be like a gen ed or just credits towards the 120? So as long as it's credit bearing,
Also for them.
it's gonna get approved as just 3 credits. It's beyond that, it's like, is your major gonna accept that course would be something, but maybe you don't have to have that known by March 1st, you know? Like, as long as you know you're getting credit, if it's still gonna mean that you can go, I think it's worth it. If that's, especially if that's the program that you actually want. What's your major?
Marketing.
And do you know what the course is that you're looking for?
Under,
Yeah.
under about, it says work for us. We have a section of that says work for us, and then there we close with
Okay.
that.
And do you know
right
the
now,
class
You can
in
go there,
Portugal?
go to our website.
Yes, I already.
Go to our website and go to about us.
Okay, and you haven't gotten the syllabus back?
Oh.
And what that means. So you can use all the information.
Okay. Do you know what the name, like, do you know the, what's the,
I just formally want to introduce myself. So hi, I'm
It's
Terry.
with
Yeah, nice to meet you.
It's like, yeah,
And,
it's-
yes,
and
on the
thank you
website.
for explaining.